I'm going to be using pseudonyms for all the teachers here, and everything is color coded by like what school it was. Like this is grades. The blue is grade school, green is middle school, and yellow is high school. So, okay, first up, my pre-K teacher. I don't remember that much about her, but I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and put her in A tier because I remember having fun in pre-K. Um, I think the only really bad thing that she did is that some kids, I was in the bathroom once, and some kids came in and they threw toilet paper everywhere, and then they told her that I did it, and she believed them over me. Um, but like, I'm not gonna hold that against her. Really, she had no way of knowing that, and I didn't do it. She wasn't there. But I mean, yeah, pre-K was pretty good. She was this like cute, like middle-aged black lady with like a beehive haircut. And yeah, I remember her being really nice, and she didn't do anything that annoying. So I'm gonna put her in A tier. She was pretty good. My kindergarten teacher, automatic D tier. I don't have an F tier on this, but if I did, I'd put her down there. She was really horrible. I don't know what her deal was. Like, I don't know how people like this become teachers. So, I was talking to my mom recently, which is actually how I got the inspiration to make this. But so apparently, what her deal was that she used to teach at a rich white school, but the district they were trying to get her to quit because she was really close to retirement. So yeah, they wanted her to quit so that they could pay her less money, when she retires. So they moved her to this poor black school, aka my school. And I guess she just didn't really know how to deal with any of the kids there. I don't think that's an excuse for how she was acting, but I guess that explains some of it. But yeah, she was really mean. One time during a math test, this is a very clear memory in my head, probably my clearest memory from kindergarten. I was having trouble understanding something on the test, and I was trying to figure it out, and she like walked up behind me and she was like, "What are you doing? Why don't you get it?" And I was like, I don't know." And then she was trying to like, I don't even remember if she was trying to show me if she was just like berating me, but like by the end of it, I was like crying, and then she called me a crybaby, which is like, yo, what the hell? I'm like 5. It was crazy. She was like literally beefing with like 5-year-olds or maybe 4. I don't know. How old are kids in kindergarten? I don't know. But I also learned this from my mom. Apparently, when I was in kindergarten, I was I was like a little bit above average in like reading and math. In fact, like my mom was like trying to see if she could get me into an advanced class at that time. But by the end of the year, my this teacher like was so mean to me that it completely killed my spirit for wanting to do anything school related. Like I didn't want any part of it because she was so mean. She also apparently got mad at my mom for teaching me about negative numbers like outside of class. Like when she learned that, she got really pissed at my mom. It's like, what the fuck? It's not your child. What the fuck? I don't think. Do you even learn negative numbers in kindergarten? I don't know. I don't think we did. I don't remember. But yeah, she was like crazy, and even though it was unfair, like what the district was doing to her, I low key hope that she did quit and gets less money because she was there. That's no reason to be crazy like that to a child. It wasn't just me she was acting like this towards. Also, she did this to like every kid. She was just like extremely mean for like no reason. Okay, next, this was my why can't I remember right now? This was one of my teachers. I don't remember. I think it was first grade. The trouble I'm having is that these two were my. Oh wait, no, yeah, this is first grade. I'm sorry. First grade teacher, S tier. I remember really liking her. She was super nice and very patient with like all the kids there. I don't have any like special notes, but I just remember like really liking her and she was really nice. Never had any sort of problem with her. S tier teacher. Now, this was my first second grade teacher right here. I say first because I moved classes. Also, automatic D tier. I don't actually remember her class very well. Um, a lot of the stuff that like I know about it now, it's information that I got from my mom. That'll be a pattern a bit for some of the teachers here because I was talking to my mom recently about like when I was in school, and that's how I got the inspiration to even make this because I was like, wow, I didn't know some of this. But anyway, She was really mean to the point where I was like refusing to go into class. Um, and yeah, she was that my mom had to get me switched to another class because I would not go into school because she was so mean. Um, what she would do is that she wouldn't really teach the class. This is sort of weird, but like most of that class was made of kids that were retaking second grade. Like it was mostly kids that were third grade aged. Like it was just me and maybe like a couple other kids that were actually the age of second graders. So what she would do is she would just like put stuff on the board and then just be like, okay, solve it. But she wouldn't teach us anything. And I guess the kids that were, a bit older, like third grade age, they were able to do that. But like I wasn't able to do that. I was I was still a little second grader, and that made her mad at me and at all the other kids that also couldn't do that. And it was just very upsetting, and I refused to go to class. And then I got switched to this other teacher, which is my second grade teacher. Um, she goes in A tier. She was sort of strict, but she wasn't like mean strict. She was like the right amount. She was really nice, even though she was strict. And I remember having a really fun time in that class. And also, like, all the kids, this isn't necessarily her, but all the kids in that class, like, really got along. And it was, like, probably the first time that I felt like I wasn't sort of like an outsider in, like, a class. I remember that. Like, I felt like that I truly fit in with one of my classes for once. And yeah, she was, even though she was strict, she was really nice. Definitely an upgrade from the other second grade teacher. And these were all at the same school. But then, after this, I moved, and I'm this the next ones. They are all at the same school, but it's a different school now from these everyone here. Um, this is she also goes in S tier. They look the same because this is my okay. I think this was also a second grade teacher. I think that when I moved, I had to, yeah, I remember. When I moved, I was like in a class for like half of the year because I missed out on some of second grade when I moved. So this is my third second grade teacher. And I remember being like really surprised because she looked exactly like my first grade teacher. I mean, she probably didn't, but I was little. Like she looked exactly the same, except for she had brown hair, and that really like confused me. So I just drew. It's just the same one, but with different hair. She also goes in S tier. She was very nice. I was getting bullied in that class, and she, even though I mean, uh, I guess she was probably the teacher that like did the most in terms of bullying because I got bullied also in later years, but she was the one that did like the most for it. Like she would actually like tell the bullies to like leave me alone, and she was very nice. And I remember having a lot of fun in that class, like with all the activities and stuff like that. So yeah, S tier teacher, she was really nice. My third grade teacher, um, ooh, okay, this one's complicated because she was also pretty mean, but she wasn't like 24/7 mean like my kindergarten teacher or my first second grade teacher. But there was one thing that she did that is like making me want to put her in D tier just because of that. Um, yeah, so she wasn't like mean all the time, but one time, um, at the end of the day, every day we would like circle up in the middle of the room, and we would like say what like our favorite and least favorite things that happened during that day were. And I remember when we were circling up, I was trying to sit somewhere, and then this one of my friends, she like shoved me from where I was sitting and like stuck her tongue out at me, and that really annoyed me. So I was in orchestra at the time. So I did that thing that like people in the orchestra do where with their hand where it's like, cut it out, like don't do that. And then this teacher, she interpreted that as me threatening to to slit this girl's throat. And then she fucking pulled me aside and got really mad at me. She's like, "What the fuck did you do? What the fuck is wrong with you?" and I cried so bad. And my mom told me this next part. Yeah, she called her in like a panic, saying, "Oh my gosh, your fucking kid just threatened to slit another kid's throat." And then my mom was like, "What the? I don't think so. That doesn't sound right." Because I wasn't like a violent or mean kid or anything like that. I was like pretty shy. But I mean, a lot of teachers got annoyed with me because I was kind of stupid. I was not good at learning stuff. Like unless it was one on one, or like yeah, unless you taught me stuff one on one, I would like usually not really get it. But yeah, she was like, "Oh my god, your child just threatened to slit another kid's throat," and then she got me put into like anger management classes in the school, which didn't help with anything because I didn't have any anger problems. But yeah, I'm kind of tempted to put her in D just for that. Oh, I also do remember during like the thing at the end of class that she would do where we would talk about our favorite and least favorite things of the day. I remember she would also sometimes like directly call out students. Like she'd be like, "My least favorite thing that happened today is that Brian wouldn't stop interrupting class," or something like that. And that's sort of mean to do to third graders, you know? That's kind of fucked up. So yeah, I'm gonna put her in D because even though she wasn't like mean 24/7, there was always like a couple things where it's like, "Yo, what the hell? Don't talk to third graders like that." Okay, anyway, next is my fourth grade teacher. Um, Low key, my brain kind of blocked out any memories of this class. I remember not liking her, like she was super also like strict, but I don't actually remember like if she was just like strict or if she was straight up mean. Like my brain is telling me that like oh yeah, she was really mean and horrible, but I don't remember any actual like specific parts of it. I just remember in my head that like she was strict and I didn't like her. But so I'm gonna put her in B because I don't really remember that well. I feel bad, but I'm just gonna put her in B because yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, next fifth grade teacher, immediate D. She was flat up like fucking nuts. She shouldn't have been a teacher. She was also like super strict and mean. And it was sort of like my third grade teacher where she wasn't mean all the time. But when she was, it was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? She was like sort of mental. I'm trying to think of like an example to bring up. Oh yeah, once so during gym class one time, um like everyone in like the main homeroom teacher doesn't really come with you during gym class, like she waits in the classroom or whatever. But we were like sort of like play fighting in gym class, like we were like play calling each other like names and stuff like that. But it wasn't anything where like any of us were like offended. We were just being like kids and being like it was like a boys versus girls thing. We're like, oh girls, oh you girls are not good at sports. We're like, no, you boys suck and are stupid or whatever. But it wasn't anything serious. Like we weren't really hurting each other's feelings. We were just playing around. But the gym teacher got really like annoyed by that and I guess thought that we were actually fighting and then told her that like, oh yeah, your class was like fucking like pissed off and fighting today. Even though we weren't, we were like just playing around. But when she heard that, she had us all like circle up and she was telling us to like not fight. And then she started fucking like crying in front of us. She was like, I can't stand when my students are fighting. It just breaks my heart. She started like full on like sobbing in front of like all of us. And we were all just sitting there like, what the fuck? It was not that serious. Which, like, I don't want to sound mean and be like, this fucking teacher is crying because she's sad about her students. But this was just like an example of her being like very, I guess, like unstable and having like emotional issues. Another time, um, we were doing something on the Chromebooks and she had us on a document, but she forgot to turn off editing privileges for us. So, but like none of us were like vandalizing the document or anything. But one kid accidentally like typed lowercase t on the title, but then immediately deleted it. It was like an accident. It was like a small thing. It was only there for like a second. No one was like, writing like anything on the document. We're all very respectful. But she saw that T and that fucking made her flip out. She was like, all right, who the fuck wrote that T? You better fucking admit it right now. And we were all like so scared because she was like screaming at the class over like a teacher, like, "Who did it?" And we were all sitting there like, what the fuck?" And some kid eventually did admit to it. I don't even know if it was that was the kid that did it. I think that kid just like didn't want was like just taking the taking the blow for all of us because we were also like terrified. She was like screaming at us, and then she took that kid into the corner. And I mean, I don't. It wasn't me that got taken into the corner, so I don't really remember exactly what happened. But I just remember seeing her like sternly talking to that child, and then that kid was crying. Like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I'm not the crazy one here, right? By saying that like someone like this shouldn't be a teacher. If you're gonna like flip out over stuff like that. But yeah, and in general, she was just like crazy strict and like mean with punishments. Oh yeah, another story with her. I have always struggled with writing stuff like in school. It's been a struggle since childhood. It's still something that I struggle with as an adult that's no longer in school. Writing is very, very hard for me. I don't know why. But one time I was having trouble with a writing assignment, and she like had me stay after to like, I don't know, basically just like scream at me for it. Like I was trying to explain to her that like the thing that I was writing, it wasn't like up to par with the standards of like the fucking whatever we were doing. And she was fucking screaming at me, like, "Oh my god, just do it!" Like, jeez. It was, yeah, she was fucked up. She would just like scream at kids for, if she couldn't figure out how to get them to do something, or if they did something slightly wrong, she would just go into like anger mode, which is really, yeah, I don't know why she was a teacher. I hope she's not a teacher anymore. But yeah, a median D tier for her. Okay, so those are all my grade school teachers. Next up is middle school. Now, these aren't all my middle school teachers, because a lot of my middle school teachers were sort of unremarkable. But these are all of the ones that, like, I really remember that left an impact on me, which is not that many, as you can see, because most of them were not that remarkable. Excuse me. First one, this is my 6th grade language arts teacher. It's pretty good. I'm trying to think, high B tier or A tier. I'm gonna say A tier. He was pretty nice. He was kind of just like a fucking default teacher. Uh, yeah, default teacher. He was nice. I remember liking the class. It was fun, even though he is a person who's like he wasn't like super high energy. I remember having a lot of fun doing the stuff in his class. Um, only problem was I like I said before, I was like bullied for like most of my time in school. Middle school is like where I got like crazy bullied. And one of the people that was bullying me was in that class, and he didn't really know how to deal with that, so he kind of just like let it happen and kind of just left me to fend for myself, which kind of sucked. But I don't really know what he could have really done besides like having one of us switch classes. And yeah, I mean, he was fine otherwise. It was a fun class. Uh, just like actually, I'm gonna put him like a little bit lower just because didn't he just like ignored me getting bullied. He didn't really know how to do much with like student conflicts. Actually, like there was sometimes like other conflicts in the class with like other students, and he didn't really know what to do with it. He would just like let it happen. It's like it's out of his hands. Which like I I don't know if I can like be too mad at him for that. I don't know. Being a teacher is really hard. I know that, so I'm not. I don't want to like get on his ass for that too much. But yeah, he's an answer. He's good. This next teacher, this one's a little bit of a weird situation. I'm not sure where to put him. I'm gonna talk first. Maybe I'll figure out where to put him. This was my. It was rather sixth. Oh yeah, it was 7th grade. 7th grade language arts teacher. Our original language arts teacher was on maternity leave, and then we had a substitute, and then that substitute left, and then this guy came, and then he was our sub for the rest of the year. Um, he was like super high energy. He loved being around kids, and he like the class was like always super fun. And I remember really liking him. And he's also the only teacher that I've like ever like reached out to after high school to be like, "Yo, thanks for being like a really good teacher." Because yeah, he was really fun, really nice. Everyone liked him, and he always made the class activities really fun. Um, I want to put him in like A or S tier, but low key, I do not remember like how much I actually learned with him as a teacher. Um, yeah, I don't remember if like if we really learned much with him. He was more of just like a fun teacher. I'll still put him in A for that though. He was Everyone liked him and he was so chill. Even if we weren't like learning a ton. I mean, also he was a sub. I gotta cut him some slack. It's not like he was like the actual teacher. Okay, next, this was my Spanish teacher for all of middle school. S tier, super nice, super chill. Uh, yeah, super passionate about Spanish. The way that she taught, like, it wasn't really like working for me. Um, I know it's like the norm in most language learning classes where it's like, or at least the ones that I've been in, where you're supposed to just be mostly talking in that language, even if you're still learning it. That has not worked for me. That has never worked for me. So her style of teaching, it it didn't really work that well for me. But still, she is very, yeah, like I said, upbeat, very passionate about Spanish, very fun. Also, she she ran the GSA at the school, and I went to the GSA in middle school, uh, gay straight alliance, in case that wasn't obvious. And her what she would do every year is like apparently her mom was like a black belt in like karate or something, and every year, uh, she would have her mom come in and like teach us how to do self defense stuff, like like what to do if someone like grabs us from behind and stuff, and like what the most effective way to kick someone is, like where everyone's weak points are. I thought that was really cool and interesting. Yeah, she was super nice and always ran the GSA in a fun way. Good teacher. S tier. This was my seventh grade science teacher. She wasn't super notable, but I remember that her voice was so loud that it was hurting my ears. That's that's the main thing that I remember about her. Her voice was so loud that it hurt my ears during class, and it made it hard to focus. Otherwise, she was sort of like, uh, I mean, she was fine. She was sort of low energy and sort of like sarcastic, but I mean, she wasn't a bad teacher. I'm just putting her in B, like, because it was really hard to concentrate because she was so loud it was hurting my ears. But she was fine. I'm gonna put her above the other teacher. But yeah. Okay, this one was my eighth grade science teacher. At the time, I did really like him because he was a fun teacher. Uh Super high energy and very passionate about the stuff he was teaching. And we did do some fun stuff in his class. Like lots of fun assignments. I just looking back, I just think he was sort of fucking weird. But I mean, I did like him in middle school. He can go in B. He was like a crazy entrepreneur sort of guy. He did a lot of different stuff. Um, and he was always telling us about it, like how he's always going like traveling and mountain climbing, and how he like wrote a book and stuff like that. And he would also like, I have really bad anxiety. That should also preface that, so like you might understand why this affected me so much. Crazy bad anxiety, and I did not get medicated until after I graduated high school, and it was really, really bad in middle school. And so he would like put a lot of pressure on us to do well in tests. He was like, if you don't do well in this test, you're not going to do well in life. If you can't even do well in a middle school test, how do you think you're going to do well in college? This is a test of like your ability to be a good student. And that really fucked me up. Like, the class wasn't even hard. I remember the class was like embarrassingly easy. Like after tests, I'd be like, "Damn, that's it. Why was he hyping us up for that?" It was really easy for me, but it did make my anxiety spike through the roof. Like being in his class, just the way that he would go about it, as if like we were like saving the world, and if we fucked up here, then it's fucking over. But yeah. Oh, and something interesting that he did. We were doing the like school wide. There was like a week or something where we were like practicing and training for what to do, like if if there's like a fire or a school shooting, like how to leave the building, because I'm in America, we have to worry about that. But he actually like had us he trained us on how to like leave the school through the window. Like he had us jump through the window. We're on the first floor, so it wasn't like we're jumping out of like a fucking second story and breaking our legs. No, we just like hopped out of the first floor window, which I think was really, I think that's a really good thing, honestly. Because like sometimes, yeah, you might need to leave through the window if you're in a situation like that. And then he also like had us he like I'm trying to explain this well. It was like a school shooting thing where he was trying to show us the best places to hide in the classroom. Like we would go hide somewhere, and then he would go to the door with a laser pointer, and then he would like if we could get hit with the laser pointer, it's like, oh, you would be shot in a school shooting. He was trying to get us to like, know where good hiding spots would be if, there was a school shooter. Which I think that's pretty honestly, I think that's a pretty good idea in comparison to like what we usually do at like schools for like, training for this sort of stuff. It's like not really anything. It would not prepare anyone in the slightest. But this was at least something. But he did get in trouble with the school for that. Like they got mad at him, which is kind of funny. Even though it was harmless. I don't know why they got mad at him. Once again, it's not like we were jumping out of a second story window. That was pretty noble of him, I'll say. Uh and yeah, he did say something weird to a student though, which actually I'm not going to talk about that. It's not. It's whatever. Next guy. This was my sixth or seventh grade gym teacher. See, he was nice, and in gym class we also talked about like the human body and stuff like that, and like anatomy, and he was good at teaching that, and he was overall like a pretty okay gym teacher. He just annoyed the fuck out of everyone because he was one of those gym teachers who was like very obese and then would spend the whole gym class like eating burgers while we were like sweating our asses off and working. And it kind of made people like, annoyed with him. But I mean, otherwise he was really nice. It's just he goes in C tier because of that. And also just because it was gym class, it's really hard to be a good gym teacher because gym class kind of just like sucks. But yeah, he just gets automatic points down for being a gym teacher, but he was fine, just like sort of annoying. Next dude, this is my seventh or eighth grade gym teacher. He also goes in C, partly just because once again it's gym class, and also, yeah, he was sort of like the first guy where he was really obese, and then he would just like sit there and like eat food while we were all like doing stuff. Well, except for me, because I had I don't want to get into exactly like why, but like there were problems with like me changing into my gym uniform where like most days I like literally just couldn't, and the school would not really do much to like help accommodate me. So like half the days I would literally just be like sitting out in gym class, and because the school didn't know what to do with me and he didn't know what to do with me. And I remember feeling kind of like it felt like he was like picking me as a favorite, and I didn't like that feeling. That sucked, and I didn't like that. I guess it wasn't like 100% his fault because of like the problems I found. Whatever. It just I remember feeling like weird about it. I mean he was sort of nice, I guess. I didn't really like talk to him much to like really discern if he was super nice. He didn't show a lot of personality when he was teaching. But yeah, I know a lot of other kids really, really didn't like him. I don't think he was the worst, but what do I know? Next up is high school teachers. Once again, these are not all the high school teachers, these are just like my most notable ones. Oh, yeah. And for my first year of high school, it was 2020 during the pandemic, so my freshman teachers, these are people that I experienced online. First off, this is my freshman. What was the class? It was like world history teacher. S tier. He collected rubber ducks. I didn't learn that until like sophomore year. Um, Also, probably important to note, during the pandemic is when I had the best grades. Like when it was like school over Zoom. So I might be a bit biased with these teachers because I I was doing better in their classes. But yeah, freshman world history teacher, really good at what he was teaching. Like I felt like I could lock in. Very nice, very understanding with like due dates and stuff like that. Yeah, and he was chill. S tier teacher. Next up, is my freshman and senior year Japanese teacher. Um, I don't know if you should go in B or A. Uh, I'll put him in A. He's a good teacher, but his teaching style, like I said with my Spanish teacher, it didn't really work for me. Like constantly talking in the language, um, that teaching style has like just not really worked for me. So it was sort of hard to do stuff in his class. Just the way that he taught stuff, it was not getting things in my brain. But that is a me problem specifically. I don't think it made him a bad teacher. Um, he was like crazy passionate about Japan. Yeah, did I say he's a Japanese teacher? I think I said that. But yeah, he was like this bald white dude. He was crazy passionate about Japan and everything having to do with it. He was like low key annoyed at a lot of the kids in that class because they were in that class because they liked anime. I remember that he was like, or I don't know if he was actually annoyed, but I mean it felt like it because he like actually like fully like he was like super into the whole country and not like just anime. So he was kind of like, ugh, these kids they just like it for the anime. But he was very nice and yeah, he was chill. Um, Next up, oh, this was one of my freshman. Oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah, this is my freshman year science teacher, C. Um, Mostly just because of the way that she acted during Zoom classes. She was one of those like obnoxious teachers that would constantly be like, "Okay, can someone please turn on their cameras, please, or I'm not gonna fucking continue the class." Like she would pressure us into doing that, which like okay, I mean I understand like wanting to be able to see everyone's faces, but also doing that is not going to make anyone feel comfortable enough to do that. Also, if like kids were saying well this didn't happen that often, but sometimes she would just say some bullshit that's like actually just stupid. And then kids in the class would be like, "Yo, what the fuck? That's stupid. Why are you saying that?" Like not related to the class or anything. It was like about politics or whatever. And then she would just fucking mute them because she didn't like what they were saying, and that was annoying. And then she also one time blamed one of the kids in our class for not like receiving the mail needed for the assignment that day, but like it wasn't their fault they didn't get it. Like I don't know, she was kind of just like a bitch. So she's going in C tier. She was just a little yeah, she was a little rude. But I mean I guess she was fine otherwise. But yeah, she's going in C tier for that. She'll go higher than the gym teachers. Okay, next this was my sophomore year chemistry teacher. He gets an A. I'm gonna move the Japanese teacher a little higher too. This was honors chemistry. I was like doing absolutely terrible in that class, but it wasn't his fault. It was because almost everything in that class was group work, and like I said before, I've always been like kind of like a I've always kind of dumb, and I always had trouble learning stuff. And anytime I was in a group, I was kind of just like left behind to die to figure stuff out on my own. And that it was yeah, I could never figure stuff out, so I really didn't do well in that class. But it wasn't his fault. He was super chill and real as hell. I don't have that much to say about him, but yeah, he was really cool and nice. This was my sophomore year civics teacher, and I gave him a nose because he has a very nice nose. S tier. I love that class. That was like one of my favorite classes. Oh, he's gonna go higher than the other two actually. That was one of my favorite classes that I've ever taken in high school. It was so fun, just like civics. If I'm super into like, I guess I don't want to say politics. I just don't know what else to say. I guess I could just say that I'm into civics. I'm into like talking about like the world and stuff and like how we can change things and like laws and everything. So that class was really fun for me. And he was super he was super like willing to discuss like different opinions and ideas, and he wasn't like weird about anything. Like um yeah, he was no like really crazy stupid opinions, and he was open to hearing other things. And yeah, he was just like really chill, and it was a good class. I'm probably not explaining myself well, but I really liked this teacher and I really liked this class. It was one of my favorites. Next, is my sophomore year language arts teacher. He's just a finger because I couldn't. I remember what he looks like, but I was struggling so hard to make it look anything like him. But he would always draw stuff on my work when he graded it. Uh, I don't know actually. I'm gonna say S tier also actually. I remember that like no one in that class liked him. They were all like really annoyed by him. I don't know why. He was so chill. And that class was really fun. Uh, sorry, my mind is like blanking. It was a good class. I had a lot of fun in that one. I like fucking failing this class really hard, but I still really liked it because I like reading stuff. We did a lot of reading and then like analyzing what we were reading. Mostly like classics and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought he was really nice, and he was I often a lot of times needed his help on stuff, and but he was really good at explaining things to me in a way that made sense. That didn't save me though, because like I said before, I've always struggled with writing stuff, and this class was no exception. Like nothing could have fucking saved me, but it wasn't his fault. He was a really good teacher and very friendly, and yeah, he was like really good at um like helping one understand stuff. I don't know why kids didn't like him. I remember like I had friends in that class and they all fucking hated him, and I don't know why. He was really nice and chill, and I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know why kids didn't like him. He was really cool. Uh Next up, who the fuck is this? Who is this? Um we'll come back to her. I don't remember who this is right now. This is my 7th grade urban agriculture teacher. Automatic S tier. One of the best teachers I've ever had. Um, First of all, it's urban agriculture. I'm super into like farming and nature and gardening. So automatic like plus just because I loved the class. She was super duper into it and super nice. And I know I'm using the term high energy to describe a lot of the teachers, but she was really high energy and she was really nice and good at teaching stuff. And like I mentioned a bit earlier, I have I had really bad anxiety and I wasn't medicated until after high school. And this was sort of a problem during this class because there was a time that we had like a school shooting scare where some kids brought like guns to school, and then there was like a full lockdown, and that really freaked me the fuck out. Where it's like I would get super terrified during any sort of alarm at school. And I remember one time there was an alarm during this class, and I got so fucking freaked out. I like was hiding under the table. I don't remember what the alarm was for. I think they were testing something, or it was like false. I don't fucking remember, but it was some alarm for something, and it was fine. But I got so scared I wouldn't come out from under the table. But she was really good at like being chill about it and like making me feel better. And I learned that because she has a brother who's sort of similar to me, where he had like super fucking terrible, uber horrible anxiety, and she was just like good at dealing with people that had similar problems because of that. Uh, but yeah, and I wish I knew where she was. I know that she's not at that high school anymore, but she's also a teacher that I would love to reach out to and be like, "Yo, thanks for being a good teacher." Yeah, she was really nice and good at teaching, and I had a fun time in her class, and also very understanding of like any problems I was having with like understanding stuff or turning things in. Very good teacher. Um, Holy shit, who is this? I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting everyone. I am forgetting everyone. Let me leave these two here. Maybe I'll remember them later. This is my senior year a literature teacher. She's going in C tier. I really liked her in class. Okay, well, first of all, I'm gonna say that a lot of the problems I had with her are just straight up my fault. They were my fault. But I'm still putting her in C tier because I'm still annoyed with how she dealt with it. So I did like that literature class. Like I said before, I like reading. We read a lot of really cool books, and I loved analyzing them and doing all of that, all the literature class stuff. Um, and yeah, I remember one time I gave a presentation on one of the books we were reading, and she was like, "Wow, I can really tell that you're like super passionate about this. You did like a great job. Like I can tell that this is like something that you really love." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yay!" I felt really good about it. And then I checked the grade book and I got like a fucking B. And I was like, "What? What? I thought I did so good." And that's kind of like how her whole class like that's how it was the whole time. Like I would do assignments, I thought that I did good on them, or she would like directly tell me that I did good on them, and then I would get like a fucking F or a D. And that's why I'm also partly saying that like the reasons I don't like her is partly my fault because I never asked about it. Um, it's because of like I'm not blaming my anxiety. I'm trying to be like, poor me, but it was because of like my anxiety was so terrible during this time. Still my fault though. I'm not trying to like take the blame off myself for that. But yeah, it was fucking weird. Like she was like, it was sort of like it was like she was being fake, sort of, you know. Um, yeah, like now that I'm medicated, if I was medicated, then I'm sure I could have asked her about it. But it was just really weird. Also, because like I don't really know what the hell I would have been doing wrong. I wasn't doing anything where it's like stuff wasn't like I was following all the directions on assignments. Like a lot of it was just like analyzing certain characters or scenes in books. Um, like analyzing them as a person, like what I think would happen next, and I fucking like failed all of those, and it's like I don't know why. I don't. Is there even like a really like a wrong answer for stuff like that? I don't know. I mean, you probably got this impression already, but for most of my life, I've been like a really shitty student. Um, and I I've never really understood why. Once again, partly my fault just 'cause I didn't ask about stuff. But she's going in C tier for being fake as hell for that. But I am going to acknowledge that, like, yeah, part of that was my fault because I wasn't like asking her why I did so shitty. But I'm still kind of like, why didn't you fucking say stuff in person to me then? Why are you saying that like I did so well, but then you're giving me like these really low grades? Like, why can't you just like be honest, right? Whatever. This was my high school culinary, and uh, I don't remember the name of this class, but it's like the class where you learn like how to do taxes and shit like that. Um, I'm trying to decide between C or D tier. I'm gonna say D tier just because I didn't. She was really mean, or not really mean. Or okay, let me talk about her first. So she was my culinary teacher in junior year, but in junior year for like, excuse me, for 2 months I was in the hospital, and when I came back, she was like not merciful towards me at all. Like I did like in the hospital, it was the mental hospital to be to be specific. So I was able to do some assignments there because during that time we had like some time to work on school stuff, and I did do some school assignments there, but it wasn't, enough. I couldn't do like all of the cooking in person assignments, but I did pretty good with like keeping up, like studying the textbooks and turning stuff in. I just couldn't do any like in person, cooking stuff. But then when I got back from the mental hospital and I was in class, it was sort of near the end of class, but I did as many assignments as I could. I did like 3 or 4 of like the big ones that I had missed. But she was just such an asshole about it and didn't give me like any like she was so mean about it. I would have been less annoyed if like she was merciless, but like she was like normal about it, like, oh hey, even if you do these, you can't like pass the class or something like. But she was like, just so you know, doing these assignments is not enough, and you're gonna fail the class. Like she was acting like it was like fucking my fault, even though I was in the hospital. Oh my god, it pissed me off so bad. Like I wish she was kind of just like maybe like, oh, maybe it'd be better if you took this class next year, and like, see, there's not a way you're gonna be able to like pass it this year. But she fucking like she talked to me like it was like my fault that I was gonna fail the class when it's like no, I was in the hospital. It's pissing me off so bad. You can tell from hearing my voice. She was so mean. And then, well, just like for that specifically, um, and then the next year I had her for like I said the class you take in high school where you learn about taxes. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called. And then she had the audacity to act like, I was like her old student that we were like on good terms. And she's like, "Oh, hi. Are you still cooking stuff?" And it's like, I don't fucking like you. You were whatever. And I mean, I guess she was fine in that class. I guess she was. That's why I'm feeling weird about putting her in D tier because she was really good at explaining stuff and like, making one understand everything. Because I was really freaked out about that class. So I was like, oh fuck, I'm not gonna understand any of this like adult bullshit. But she was really good at explaining it and providing examples and all of that. Like she was really good at like teaching that. Okay, yeah, I'll put her in C tier for that. She goes up for that. She'll go like right here, I guess. Um, and yeah, I guess I didn't like how like um crazy. This is sort of like a personal thing. I'm not gonna use this to like judge whether she was a bad teacher or not. I didn't like how I guess punitive she was about like manners and respect and shit. That might just be because of how I was specifically raised, but she would like get really pissed off at me if I didn't ask her how she was doing when I came in. Like she got really like sarcastically like annoyed about me one time for doing that, so then I just remembered to do it every time so she wouldn't like fucking make a big deal about it. Which I mean, I guess I get it, like fucking manners, being polite to your respect your elders or some shit, but it's uh I don't know. It just no other teacher did that, so it kind of just felt like she was being a bitch. um, this was my seventh grade social studies teacher. She goes in she goes in S. She was or she goes in A actually. Maybe like right behind him. She was a good teacher, very nice, and this isn't contributing at all to like how good she was of a teacher. But on the last day of school, I remember she she had us watch Get Out and Us, not for any particular reason, just I don't know, just because it was the last day of school and like yeah. Um, hey, fuck, did I say seventh grade? Oh my god, no. This is a high school teacher. This is my this is my junior year social studies, I believe, or maybe whatever. Sorry, but she was a good teacher. Um, uh, this wasn't exactly her fault, I guess, or maybe it was. I don't know. I don't really know how teachers' lesson plans are worked out, but I didn't like that she had us do this weird, like role play thing where we had to like some of us we had to role play as like uh slaves and then like slave owners, like justifying slavery. It's not that big of a deal, but I didn't like that. Pretend I didn't bring it up. It doesn't matter. She was a fine teacher though. She was pretty chill and good at explaining things and very nice. And yeah, she was alright. She was a good teacher. She goes and all. Ugh, I cannot fucking remember for the life of me who these two are supposed to be. I drew these pictures like 3 days ago. Who are these people? I don't remember. I don't remember. Oh, no, that's not who it was. Who was it? I'm just gonna, okay. I think this was supposed to be my sophomore year math teacher, I believe. And if it was, she's going in D tier. Because, she would get really frustrated at kids for not understanding stuff instead of, like, actually helping them. And, um, yeah, I don't really have many strong memories of her besides that she would get really annoyed instead of, like, helping kids with stuff, which is, that sucks. And I do not remember who this is. Oh, I feel bad. I do not remember who this is right now. White woman with glasses. Let me make her a tier. Okay, but yeah, this is my I don't want to say definitive ranking, but my ranking of a ranking of most of my teachers that I've had. Uh yeah, that's what it is.